Welcome to Tammy Nation. Let's go.
From 9 to 5, been biting my tongue for all this time. Won't let anyone cut me short. I was thinking this was the way to go, and you put up your puppet show. I say cheers to life. No, I'll be no good man. Just leave me alone. I'm running the show. I'm telling you, it's my time to rise up. Live the life I'm proud.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Tammy Nation, and came on to give an update on the second vote that happened, getting Jordan for Speaker of the House. It did not happen, so I thought I'd cover that and a couple other things that have made headlines as well to keep everybody updated. Round one, Jordan had 200 votes this time. Round two, he only had 199. Jeffries had 212 the first round and 212 this round. And others, the first round was 20, this round was 22. So that's not looking good because Jordan did lose a vote, and then others gained 2 votes. So there's a lot of different names that were in the others, including McCarthy once again, some new names as well. So this is not a unified, obviously, party and bipartisan thing going on here because like I said, there's a lot coming out on Jordan. I'm going to read a little article. Nancy Pelosi went on yesterday on MSNBC and was talking about Jordan. And once again, it's just when you follow everything that's going on, it's the amount of divisiveness that is still out there. Hey, Sharon, it's good seeing you. Yes, it is getting ridiculous because there's still a massive dividing line and nobody's unifying. Listen, this is what, the second vote in 5 days. We're waiting to see if there's going to be a third vote today or not. What is the holdup? I've heard that it's because Jim Jordan, they're waiting on him to see what his next move is. Now that he's went 2 rounds, they're waiting to see if he wants to go round 3 or what he's going to do. Either he's going to keep the hat in the ring or he's going to nominate somebody else or whatever. Now, the thing that's going on as well behind the scenes and that is going to have, hey, Lily J, it's good to see you as well, is that Patrick McHenry, they're talking about him coming in if he cannot get enough votes, which he hasn't the first 2 go-arounds. And guess what they want to do is they want to give him full power for 30 days. So this is why they want him to have full power, because they want him to have the ability to vote on a package should a package come down on the White House and through the White House, and they can get voting and all that stuff. So this is the thing. If you guys noticed yesterday, we talked about Biden has already said he wants 100 billion. Okay, he wants to go another round with 100 billion because he wants the money to be able to go to support Ukraine and Israel. Some of the money is supposed to go to border funding. Some of the money is going to aid nations in the Indo-Pacific, including Taiwan. And that's a Bloomberg article that I read that came out yesterday. So there are a lot of numbers and billions and millions floating around again. And they're saying that actually Hakeem Jeffries is behind the scenes, supposedly wheeling and dealing as well, to see if they can get some kind of omnibus bill going and get him the votes to be Speaker of the House. So there's a lot going on behind the scenes still. Like I said, they keep talking about we need to hurry up. It's a crisis. We need to elect a speaker. You know, we have to hurry up. There's a crisis going on in the country, in our country, in the world. However, they took 6 weeks off in August when normally they only take 4. They also took a few days off. They took Friday, Saturday, Sunday off, did a vote on Monday. So, you know, the thing is, you guys, they're saying one thing, but actions always speak louder than words. So what is really going on? Don't know. Why can't they unify? Don't know. If there's such a crisis out there, it just sounds kind of shady to me. And I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist and stuff, but when Biden's already talked $100 billion deal before he got on that plane, that he wants to go approach them with, that includes all this money to, once again, the majority of it's going to other countries and other things, including Taiwan. It is not going to us. So that's a big red flag, in my opinion. Hey, Redhausen, it's good to see you as well. So also, there are also some big numbers that are floating around and names floating around that have allegedly benefited from the 100 billion we have already sent to Ukraine. Basically, they're saying that it was the biggest, and it is the biggest, money laundering operation ever. And it comes from a supposedly head Ukrainian official that has these names and the amounts of money that they've resent through, from them back to them. So the names on this list are amazing, and it is all allegedly right now. There's obviously more to be found out about this, but this money that supposedly our own people have gotten back, our representatives, ranges anywhere from 17 million to 92 million that are cutbacks or rerouting of the tax dollars in this 100 billion we've already headed over there. So that's definitely something we need to keep an eye on. Definitely something more that we need to look into as, transparency comes out on this, because this right now is allegedly, okay? So that's what's going on with that. We're waiting to see what the heck's going to happen with Jordan, what he's going to decide to do, and see if we can get a Speaker of the House. Now, a lot of people do like Jordan. A lot of people don't. But this is the thing that I said the other day, and I feel like, oh, he's the best choice. He's the only choice, because nobody can bring the party together and unify. Jordan has done a lot of good, but he's also been a little sketchy when it comes to the omnibus bills. And he's left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths as well. So some are really, anchored in the heels. They're like, we're not having Jordan. So we don't know. We have to wait and see, you guys. But Pelosi, when she went on MSNBC yesterday, this is what she had to say. And this is another stab at us. This is how far we are apart. Like I said, once again, look at what people's actions are versus what they say. Yesterday, she said the House Republicans they didn't have any interest in the peaceful transfer of power. They were in denial about the election. And for all the horror of that day, the violence, the desecration of the Capitol, this temple of the democracy in the world, the violation of our Constitution, to have that day on acceptance of the e-vote, the whole thing, the assault on our democracy. After we went back there, we took the vote. Overwhelmingly, the Republicans voted against accepting the results of it all. And she said the person that they're putting forth to be Speaker of the House is just appalling. So she went on national TV and said that Jim Jordan is just appalling. He's a horrible choice for it. She continued to talk about Jordan, stating that Mr. Jordan and his friends do a real disservice to their members on the Republican side to call upon them once, maybe more. We'll see tomorrow, to vote for such a person for Speaker. She says they're going to have to answer to their conscience, to their children, to their own legacy for doing something so disreputable. These are pretty severe words against Jordan. It's not about, I don't hear so far, I don't hear about unifying, calming down. We need to come together. Do you? I just hear her picking Jordan apart. She continued saying, this person that they're nominating, Jordan, doesn't have any legislation, never passed legislation. His big bill is to criminalize a woman's right to choose with no exceptions, the harshest possible position. Again, not accepting the results of the election, but voting. Again, you see these people voting for him when he voted against disaster assistance when fires came to the area, when storms and hurricanes. That's why you see some people voting against him from New York. But there are many others voting against the interest of their constituents, because you know why? The instigator of the I word, which I won't say, Donald Trump, he asked them to. Pelosi concluded, the public needs to understand what is at stake. Our democracy is at stake. Believe that one? So if you didn't catch it, like I said, it was very unstomachable for a long time to watch the other side and hear the things they had to say. But when we're at the precipice of things the way they are, and everything is history in the making at this point, things have never happened like this before in the 113 years. So I always say it's good to look at both sides. It's good to know who's really taking the action that is behind the muscle of the mouth of the words, right? If they're saying one thing and acting another way, we know that they're just telling us what we want to hear to tickle our ears, right? So with her saying that, that was pretty decisive. Like, she ended that interview. That's the section of the interview. And I thought, how about just stand behind him? We're at a crisis. We need to pull together. Simple little words that you would think that these representatives would come across and say, and then follow it with their actions. Somebody needs to be a leader here. And it doesn't seem like anybody is being a leader. There's nobody out there that is leading the forefront, the charge of unifying and getting everybody together. Even Jim Jordan, whether you like him or not, remember Jim Jordan pulled back and let Scalise go ahead and take a run for the vote for the Senate seat. And apparently that was for the betterment. He thought he'd get the votes or whatever. Then he went back in when Scalise didn't get it. So like I said, I think that it's really time to pay attention and see what's going to happen with this round 3, when it's going to be. Keep an eye on and ear out for this Patrick McHenry to get the 30 days, the possible 30 days, because that may be very well what Jordan's pulling for, because Jordan said in an interview as well, let's bring it to the floor for a vote. Let's see if if everybody wants to go ahead and put McHenry in there for 30 days. The thing that is tricky is the full power. When they give him full power for 30 days, that allows him to be able to vote on the package and all of them to get moving should the White House come down with a package. And once again, a reminder, Biden said he already wants another $100 billion. So I don't know how much money that we can bleed it profusely and produce without it affecting us. I mean, you look at inflation, you look at what's going on here. They can't seem to bring that down and temper that. They can't seem to work together to make the American people feel secure, feel confident in what they're doing, or just our livelihoods, just going to the grocery store, just getting jobs, et cetera, et cetera. They don't seem to be able to pull in the effort and the energy to put any money towards us, yet they're creating all this money and all these omnibus bills to keep shoving millions and billions out there. And as a matter of fact, Biden just announced also yesterday, let's get to that. President Biden announced that the U.S., we, the people, like my shirt says, we the people are going to send another $100 million in humanitarian assistance to Gaza and the West Bank. Okay. And it says this money, he said, this was, I think yesterday, he said this from Israel. He said this money is going to support the 1 million displaced and conflict affected Palestinians, including emergency needs in Gaza. So this was a speech he gave yesterday in Israel. So we're also sending out another $100 million in humanitarian assistance. Now, listen, I'm not against helping people. I don't think any of us are against helping people. But when we don't help ourselves first and we keep getting weaker and weaker, it seems like day by day, we can't get it together in our own country with our finances. We can't get it together with the amount of illegals that are here and close the dang border, which is putting pressure on these cities and us in general for jobs, for food, for where we're going to keep these people, let alone diseases that are spreading, et cetera, et cetera. There is so much hypocritical stuff going on anymore that it seems like total insanity. I feel like we live in the Twilight Zone, or we live in a Twilight world. And, it's just been that way for the last few years because nothing seems to make sense. And is not being negative. It's the reality of what is going on out there and how it's always, we're taking it on the back. You know what I'm saying? We're getting screwed every which way, but everybody out there seems to be more in a crisis than we are in our own country. And I don't know how long we can stay stabilized or financially secure. Are we even? I don't feel secure with the way it is in our country, with our finances. Who knows? How long can the financial system sustain everything that's going on? Where are they getting this money from over and over? Yet there's not enough here. It's we, the taxpayers. However, you have people that aren't working. People are struggling, working 2 and 3 jobs because the new wave is to label you a part-time employee. However, you're working just under 40 hours a week, so you don't get benefits. You get a somewhat under manageable wage. You have to work the 2 or 3 jobs together in order to get a sustainable wage to keep up with groceries, your bills, and everything else. But nobody's getting full-time jobs with benefits out there. So that's a collapse in the job environment as far as I'm concerned as well. So obviously, Biden still flew to the Middle East yesterday. We know that. And he was going to meet with the leaders. However, before he even landed, the leaders of Jordan and the West Bank announced they would not meet with the president, the Palestinian, all of them. None of them are going to meet with him. So he had a press conference with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. So Biden read from his note cards. If you guys didn't see this, oh my gosh, he had note cards. So he's sitting there with Netanyahu, and he's reading from note cards, and he couldn't apparently think and speak for himself. He had to have little cards. It was just so embarrassing. He's sitting down there, Netanyahu's sitting next to him, and Biden's, this is what, it's every time we need strong leadership, it seems like it's not there with this Biden guy and this administration, because they can never answer questions and they seem to embarrass us. So as he could not read and think for himself and read his note cards because he even stumbled over them, he just got incoherent and it was bad. So Biden came out and said, years ago, I asked Secretary of State when he and I were working in the Senate to write something for me, and he said he wrote a line that I think is appropriate. He said, it's not we lead. It's not just, well, I won't go into it. I'll wait till later, taking too much time. And he was talking about Tony Blinken, who was never a U.S. senator. So not only did he finish the conversation and thought he was claiming Tony Blinken was the U.S. senator that he was talking to and all this stuff. And, but remember, Tony Blinken is the one who did organize the statement and the letter that was signed by the 51 intel officials who claimed that Hunter's laptop was Russian propaganda. So he did bring him up, even though it was in the wrong frame that he brought him up in. So the AP was reporting that Biden said, based on what I've seen, and this is to what was going on over there and what he said to Benjamin Netanyahu. He said, based on what I've seen, it appears as though it was done by the other team, not you. And he was saying that to Benjamin Netanyahu regarding the attack on the hospital in Gaza yesterday. He also said that there were a lot of people out there who weren't sure what caused the blast. So very unintelligent conversation and very inappropriate. It was horrible to watch. It really was. Somebody that can't speak, and here he is. He's the one that has the code for the button, right? He's the one that's over there in the middle of all that chaos breaking out, and this is what he has to say. He was stumbling around and everything else, and it was just sad. It's just sad, and it's embarrassing. It's time to go. So, like I said, there's just a lot of different things like this going on. J.D. Vance came out, gave some interviews and talked yesterday, and he said, you know what? It's about time that we stop importing people who support the terrorists out there. We know that there's a lot of different things that are going on as far as protest in our own streets in our major cities, claiming that it is just they want peace and calm. But you know what? You don't have peace and calm when you're calling atrocities against people that don't agree the way that you agree. So, Tom Cotton also came out and said, let's be clear, when they say from river to the sea, that's a call for excelling against Jewish people. So there's a lot that's going on in the campuses. And Tom Cotton saying these people that are chanting this and these people are saying anything against what is against the American way and the American people or other people in our own streets, that they need to be deported immediately, that they can go back to their countries and protest their views the way they want to, because why are we allowing them here to do that? And for another thing, I'm not sure that hey, Independent Men United, good to see you. I'm not sure how many of us feel safe, like I said, in our own streets and cities. It's not like we're letting fear take over, but there's a severe concern out there of why are these different things happening towards us in our own country? Why is our leader, so-called representative, the head, the biggest man in power for the United States of America over there, really embarrassing us and looking so weak? And I feel like we're weak and frail from the outside and from the inside, and that's concerning. And then we've got, like I said, this vote, waiting to see what Jordan's going to do, to see if we have a third vote today. And you know, from what I've heard around and what I've paid attention to and watched, and Bannon's really good at covering this as well with Patrick McHenry. There's some articles out there and stuff and talking about why it really wouldn't be that great of an idea if Patrick McHenry took power. They call it temporary power, but full power. Why that may not be such a good idea for this country at this time, that we need a full permanent Speaker of the House in that seat, and that we need to get this taken care of right away. You know, everybody's saying we need to take care of it right away, but we're on day 5 now, vote number 2, and we really haven't gained anything more than we've gained from, last week when they started vote 1 and they took time off. So what is that telling us? Why can't they just drop all these bills? Why aren't they wheeling? Why can't they stop wheeling and dealing about bills? Am I that naive to think that really somebody has integrity and somebody will come out and stand up what's right for this country at a crisis that we are in, inside our borders, outside our borders, in our world? Am I not that naive to believe that there's that many honest people in government that will just get a Speaker of the House that has our best interest at heart? Because it's not looking that way to me. It's not looking that way when you hear and watch the different interviews, when these representatives come out, the things they have to say, and the bipartisanness that's going on there. Pelosi's interview yesterday was horrible. At a time like this, in a so-called crisis that everybody's calling for, to throw Jordan under the bus so vehemently, it was disgusting to me at a time like that. So I think I know why she's doing it. But like I said, we don't want to be presumptuous, do we? We're just going to watch the cards and see where they fall and see what happens with all this. So that's all I have for this round, you guys. We'll see if there's a round 3 vote. I assume that there will be. I'm not so sure Jordan's going to take a round 3, because like I said, if you just joining me, the holdup was waiting for Jim Jordan to decide what he's going to do after 2 rounds of not securing the House seat. So they're waiting to see what he wants to do. So with that, that's kind of disturbing in itself as well. Like I said, when they started this, supposedly they were all about Scalise was going to be in and win, get her done. And then when Jordan switched up and they decided to have Jordan in, supposedly it was an in and a win right away. Now the temperament has calmed down. I haven't seen anybody saying we're secure with these votes. I hear people now saying we got to see what happens. And as I said yesterday, and as you guys know, the more votes that come down, usually the person running gets less and less and less. And that happened. We've only had 2 rounds. He's lost 1 more vote. He didn't gain a vote. So that doesn't look very stabilizing for Jim Jordan to secure the seat at all either. So we just have to hang tough, you guys. And I will talk to you guys on the next one later on after that 3rd vote comes down. Let's see what happens. All right. Take care. Talk to you soon.